that way.
All right, hey there, CPO here, and we are at Heli Hangout number 32. It is Friday, October 17th, 2014, and it has been uh, several weeks since we've had the last hangout. I had to skip one because of a commitment that I couldn't get out of, and so we're trying to catch back up. So we are off schedule, off kilter. Our every other Friday has now skipped a Friday, so now we're on a different cycle, and that may be throwing off a few people. So it's going to be probably pretty quiet tonight, but hopefully people will show up and remember that we're having a hangout tonight, and that is if they're not doing other things already. So anyway, we got Derek here, and we got Rifted, so that's enough to hang out. I only need a couple people to hang out with, so works for me. So how you guys been? Just to be clear, Derek's having mic problems, so he's going to try and stay on mute as much as he can, which that's not going to work for very long, man.
On my
What have you been
end,
up to?
yeah, on my end, it's been really good. Finally, a lot of rain stopped, so it's cool. I've been able to catch some flights, and I was able to go out and test one of my Terra 650, added on two big batteries. I'm running it on 4S 5000, and I was able to pull out a 10 minutes of flight, so I was pretty happy with it. And still considering what helicopter to buy. A small one. I'm gonna go with a small one, probably a 450. Not thinking of a 500, but still haven't decided which brand I'm gonna buy. If probably the Hobby King or uh, thinking about T-Rex because it's way cheaper buying stuff down here, and there's a lot of spare parts available. So probably is going to be the route to go, but I haven't decided between the Hobby King, between the Align T-Rex 450, but the 450 there's the 3-cell and 6-cell options. So I probably not going to go with a little beast of 6L. You never know, right?
Yeah, you never do. I like my 6S 450. Got some punch.
Ain't a little beast to fly?
It's fun to fly, but it is a little bit like a mad bumblebee.
Exactly. I don't want to go that route. So
You just
yeah,
gotta, it's the right pinion choice. You can bring it down. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to change the head speed to have more power.
yeah, but I also have to purchase batteries, and that's gonna be putting me on the spot. So
Oh yeah, they are definitely a little bit more expensive.
no, not the expensive thing. It's only gonna be like buying a completely different battery that I'm not gonna use for another stuff. Because the 2200s, I use it on airplanes or uh, this little wing. Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, so I put there two 200s, and it flies very good, and I use it a lot. So
If
yeah,
I had to pick the one battery that I have the most diversity out of, it's the 3S 2200s because I use them in several different planes. I use them in multi-rotors. So yeah, I can feel you there. Matter of fact, for the longest time, the only 6S batteries I had were for my 450.
and that's the thing, and I really don't want to go that route in a completely different setup that I'm only going to use in a helicopter, which I'm probably going to fly every second, third fly, every once in a while. So I'm going to have those batteries laying down without any use. So yeah, I'm still considering what to go with. So let's see. I'm sure I'm gonna buy something later on, regret, but I'm still gonna have it, fly it, enjoy it. You know, the regular stuff. So yeah, let's see what happens. And also received uh, through mail I purchased a what's called the flying board. It's not the little tiny for the quadcopters that it's been used. A little one.
Oh, the Pro X?
From Abusemark. It's not the CC3D. It's the other one. The Nace 32.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So it took almost 2 months from Japan. So I talked to Abusemark. He was very responsive. Returned my money, and what you're gonna say? 2.5 weeks later, it showed up. So I'm reaching back and telling him, hey, you know what? It finally arrived. How much do I owe you? Because, man, yeah, I'm not like those guys that, receive something for free and never ever call back and, hey, you know what? It happens this or that. Now, I'm definitely going to pay for it for the blame board. So yeah, still have to solder a lot of the components. So it's going to be yeah, as you can see in the back, there's still my soldering station up and running. So probably in this weekend I'm going to have that soldered. And yeah,
Nice.
that's all that has happened so far.
All right, well, cool. That sounds like plenty to keep you busy for a while.
Yeah, plus I have 2 planes from Flight Fest that I haven't built.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, quite a few things to do still.
Nice. All right, well, Powerdyne.
Hey, what's up, guys? Not a lot going on right now, build-wise or anything. I'm still waiting on parts. Had a Mikado V-bar go belly up on me and give up the magic smoke this week. So the TSA 600 build is now on indefinite pause until I hear back from Mikado on that. And then, don't know if some of you guys may have seen, I won a Rush Evo 750 on Facebook through the Alias Facebook page. So hopefully the Hong Kong protests will kind of simmer down a little bit and they can get the parts they need shipped out so that they can get the kits out so I can get my kit. But yeah, I've got a 750 coming. So
That's awesome.
Wow. Way
that's
cool.
one of the things I was really looking forward to. Other than that, I haven't got a lot of flight time in or anything because it's been raining and windy here in Indiana, and mostly just getting out in the side yard, testing out setups, all of that good stuff. And got out to the flying field once, but didn't take my heli. Went out and watched the plankers fly. So that's pretty much been it for me.
Wow. So how did you win the 750? I must have missed that.
On the Alias face page, our Facebook page, they had a contest up for the 750, the Rush 750 Evolution. You could win one of the kits. It was part of their kickoff, and then all the stuff with the Hong Kong protests kicked in. But it was on the Facebook page for Alias helicopters.
Nice.
And yeah, I just went in and all you had to do was like and comment on the photo, and they drew my name like 3 days later. So
That's cool. I've tried that a few times on various websites and haven't got lucky. So I guess you're proof that it really does happen.
yeah, it does. It's just, and I've talked to Charlie and Charlie Stevens, the designer of the Rush, and all of that, and he's like, "Yeah, you've got a kit coming to you." So I was like, "All right, cool."
Nice. Cool, man. That's it?
Yep, that's it for me right now.
All right. Casper, how you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good. Well, it's been kind of hit and miss where I've had time, the weather hasn't cooperated, and when the weather's cooperated, I haven't had the time. So it seems to be the case the last few weeks. Got a little indoor stuff done with some of the small micros. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I let the Stretch 480 get away from me. It needed a main gear, feathering shaft, blade, and one set of gears for one of the servos.
Is presumed what is suggested to be discrimination because...
Hello?
We got a visitor.
Oh, yeah.
We'll give it a few minutes before I explore. Go ahead.
Anyway, I have to give hat-off salute to Dave at Terra RC. I initially thought I needed one set of feathering shafts. Trouble is, there's so many different heads for that particular Terra 450. So I initially ordered one set. He said it was out of stock. And then finally, I took the thing apart. He asked me to send him a picture of the head itself. So I sent him a picture of the head. He sent out what he thought was the correct feathering shaft. Well, it turned out not to be the right one, but he selfishly turned around and sent me out the right one and overnighted it. So I got it within 12 hours the next day. Was able to get it back together. So my hat's off to Dave. I don't think he gets the best support from Taro as far as keeping parts in stock and keeping up with the models, but he does a good job on his end.
Yeah, I think he finds his hands tied more than he'd like with those guys.
Yeah, that's too bad because he works hard at it. So it'd be nice if the rest of them were as cooperative. Anyway, I'm working on that, and on the 600 build, I'm awaiting some parts. I got some batteries in now. Have to get a few connectors, electrical connectors, and servo extensions to get the electrical done on that, and that should be up and flying. That's about it.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. Jim Bob, what's going on, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, a lot of family stuff going on, but figured I'd drop in and say hi to you guys.
Cool.
What have you been up to lately?
I've actually been trying to get some stick time in more so than what I have been for a while, so I've kind of been flying the Gaui X3 more than anything. I have two of them now, but one of them I kind of use for a beater bird, and I just stick my neck out and try anything I can. And I tell you what, it's kind of opened some doors for me. You know, you explore things that you're scared to death to do with your shelf queen bird, and it's just made a world of difference for me. So, and then I got another build going on here shortly, so I can clear my table off. But just been trying to, I'm working my butt off a lot. But you know, the typical story of everybody, I guess.
Nice. How's your goblin treating you?
Real good. I baby it a little bit. I did drop it on the ground a little bit too hard and broke the skids off of it. And there's supposed to be sacrificial parts on it when that happens. Well, it didn't turn out too good. The bottom plate broke where the slide-in mounts that the skids mount to. It broke, so I had to dismantle 50% of the bird just to get that off because I had a lot of electronics on it and stuff like that. So, and then I think I had a slight tail strike at the time, and I think I got a bearing that's clicking on me because it's making a little bit of noise. It bugs me, so it's got to go in for maintenance here shortly too. So, but it's a great bird to fly. I love it. It's really nice.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, it's good seeing you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
All right, and looks like Dave made it on. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing well. Tired. A lot of building.
Yeah. How's that going?
Very well. It's been surprising. I've been thinking off and on about picking up a 550, and honestly, I really had my mind set on a logo 550. And there was even one here local that I know the guy who has it, pristine condition that he was selling. But man, those are not cheap. As nice as they are not cheap. And then I just happened to stumble across that blade was having a sale and blowing out their 550Xs to make room for a new model coming in for, in time for the holidays. I don't know what specifically they're changing on it. So I did some research, and I really couldn't find anybody saying anything negative about it since the redo. When they first came out, the original kit came with an E-Flight speed controller, and it wasn't doing so hot. It just was underpowered, and initially a lot of people thought the helicopter itself, was the motor that was underpowered, and then a few guys started replacing the E-Flight 100 amp ESC with Castle 120s and 130s, and the thing just took off like crazy. So it was interesting. There was a lot of banter going on back and forth. E-Flight Blade had a rep that was very active in the forums, and did a lot of testing with a couple of the users. And surprising, but maybe I shouldn't be too surprised because Horizon has really good support. The end result was that they agreed that it was a crappy speed controller, and they pulled it from the kit. Not only did they pull it from the kit, anybody who bought one, they bought it back from them.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It was pretty cool.
So basically, they have kits now that don't have ESCs. You can buy your own, and they're blowing them out for $249 for a 550 kit. So I thought, for $250 I could take a shot at it. It's not that big a deal. So I did. I was shocked. I mean, literally, I ordered it and it was here the next day. I was surprised how fast I got here. The other thing that was shocking to me, because I've not ventured into this end of the pool before, is what electronics at this level cost.
Yeah, welcome to that.
Yeah, that made the helicopter really cheap in comparison. But I did, I kind of went all out. I didn't, if I'm going to build a 550 and the kit's only 250, then I'm just going to go nuts with the electronics. So I went and got, a line, top of the line, Align titanium geared servos, the best they have. I picked up, a Castle Phoenix Edge 130 ESC. They recommend a minimum of 120. But I went ahead and picked up the 130 just to have plenty of headroom, because I was reading that several guys running watt meters on their helis said that the motor was pulling up to 170 amps during hard 3D stuff in bursts. So the Castle Edge 130 is good for 200 amp bursts. So I should have plenty of headroom there.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Edge, the Phoenix Edge has all the logging. The nice thing is it has the wire coming off the speed controller for your governor, so you don't have to have the governor sensor. That's nice.
Okay, yeah.
So I ordered what I thought I would need right up front. I knew there was going to be some stuff, because without having everything in front of me, it's hard to get a picture exactly what I'm going to need. And one thing I hate doing in builds, because I do it frequently, is I'll order what I think I need, and then I got to order it again, and then I end up getting killed on shipping because I'm ordering from the same places multiple times trying to get stuff in. So I'm taking this one a little slower this time. I'm just not going whole hog. I'm waiting till I know, and if I have to wait for the next step before I order parts, that's what I'm doing. So it's going a little bit slower, but overall, I have to say the build is impressive. I'm really impressed with the quality. I've not built a helicopter that's gone together like this. It's everything fits like a latex glove. It's tight. It's smooth. There's no slop anywhere. Nothing. You can imagine. It's just it goes together perfectly, and it's just butter smooth. I'm really impressed with the quality overall. The only things that I don't really care for, and I suppose there's probably some aftermarket to take care of it, but like a lot of helis, there's a few little parts that are self-tapping screws into plastic, and that I don't care for that. I prefer, you know, good machine screws into aluminum parts.
Right.
Eventually, I end up stripping the plastic out. So I'll probably replace some of that stuff at some point. But as far as the build goes, it's been great. I only made one mistake during the build. I couldn't figure out why the locking collar for the main shaft wasn't fitting right. And I stared at it, and I'm not kidding, I stared at it for hours. I took it apart twice, put it all back together. I still couldn't figure it out. So I finally, probably after a couple of hours, I took a picture of it and posted it on the HeliFreak, and some guy got back to me within a couple of minutes and said, you put this on backwards. Oh yeah, you're right. So it was, I couldn't believe that I just literally stared at that part for hours and not realize it was on upside down. So
Yeah, isn't it crazy how that works?
yeah.
That's what I love about the internet. If I had to build by myself without the benefit of the internet, I would have screwed up so much stuff. I remember, I think we were kind of chatting on Facebook a little bit, and I was thinking about the time that I first learned how to, which direction the ball links go on. At the time it was a line that had the A on it and the number on the other side. And I didn't even know that was there. And it was kind of in the manual, but not clear. It didn't like say, hey, make sure you really had to already know that was there. And I'll never forget, my first video with posting, me putting links on, and some guy, I feel bad, I don't remember his name now. I think he was from Australia. Said, hey, your ball links are on backwards. And I'm like, what? There's a direction? It's like. Yeah. But I would have never known that if somebody else hadn't looked at it. And he looked at it and immediately knew. And just like now, when I look at other people's stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, your ball links are this, your blades are on backwards, or all these things that I can pick out that somebody new just still doesn't really get yet. So it doesn't surprise me that you can stare at it for 20 minutes and somebody else will go, oh yeah, there's your problem right there.
Yeah,
it's frustrating, but
I'm not kidding. I took it apart twice and put it back together wrong twice. That's frustrating to waste all that time. But part of the problem was I kind of rushed that part of the build. I wasn't supposed to go through there until I had the servos installed. My servos hadn't come in yet, so I thought, I can get past this without the servos. What's the big deal? I'll stick them in later. I didn't realize that if I had the servos, they wouldn't have fit, and I would have realized something was wrong before I even got that far. But part of it was I pushed past one step and thought I'd just backtrack later. And so then, anyway, I ended up having to take the whole frame apart a third time. This time when I had the servos that came in, these aligned servos are amazing. I've not felt servos this smooth before. Shockingly. One of the interesting things that I found on this build is the kit comes with servo horns for Spectrum servos, and I guess that makes sense since it's their kit, their servos, and Spectrum has their own, I guess, spline for servo horns. So. Both High-Tech and Spectrum do their own thing, and then everybody else is pretty much compatible. So I had to get different servo horns for it. Servo horns that came with my servos were a little bit short. And shopping for servo horns, I noticed they don't tell you the length. No matter where you go, where you shop, they'll tell you, what servo they're for, what size of servo they're for. But nowhere could I tell on any website told me the length of the servo horns.
Right. Or even what the ball dimensions are, or the hole dimensions are, right?
Right. So I ended up going to a local hobby store, and they had the they call them Dubro Super Servo horns, and they're really, really beefy. And there's a pack. You get a pack of like I don't know, 10 or 12 for $15, and they start at large and go really large. And there was a couple in that pack that I was able to make use of, and they're really good, heavy, sturdy servo horns. So that got me through that minor issue. So at this point, it's pretty much mechanically done. It's just now electronics, and I still have to order batteries. I sort of been waiting on that because I wasn't sure what connectors I was going to need overall, and I didn't want to order batteries and turn around and have to order connectors from the same place. But I think I have it all figured out now, so I think I can go ahead and order some batteries. So I don't know, maybe another week, 2 at the most before I made it. This thing is huge. I was surprised. It's very large for a 550. I put it next to somebody else's Align 550, and it made the Align 550 look small.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
The frame is considerably larger. There's a lot more battery room. I guess theoretically it's larger in case you can bump it up to a 600 and run 12S in it. There's enough room for 12S batteries. And I didn't realize this either. I thought once you got to 550 size, Align stopped doing this, but apparently they didn't. And Align 550 doesn't use 550 blades. They use 520 millimeter blades.
I thought the 550 was the first one where they actually started using the size blades that they are.
So did I, until I actually started looking into it and like, oh no, they're not. I think the new Dominator, the 550L that's coming out, will be a true 550, but prior to that, all the other Align 550s are actually 520 millimeter blades.
That's interesting.
On the 550 for Align, you can still use 550 blades, though.
Correct, that's true. The Align 550 comes with the 600 tail boom, at least one of the newer versions do. So it's a little bit longer than the Blade 550X. So the Blade 550 is just a little bit bigger. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit more beefier motor. Most of the Aligns are running 90 to 100 amp ESCs, where on the Blade 550X, 120 is minimum recommended. In fact, I saw a video when I was researching the 550X, and there's a guy that has a YouTube video out there. I'm not sure why he has it. He has it disabled. You can't comment or anything. But he goes through. He's going through setting it up. You know, he's getting ready to do his maiden, so he's filming his maiden. And as I'm watching him do this, I'm seeing all kinds of errors. I'm thinking, this is not going to end well. He's using a Castle 10 amp BEC, which is not really a 10 amp BEC. It's 10 amp BEC for 3S. It's not. It's only 5 amps on 6S, because I have that same BEC. I recognize it. And then he was only using a Talon 90 for the speed controller. And I thought, oh man, this is not going to end well. And sure enough, he puts it in the air, hovers it, does a few things, it does okay. He tries to flip it, and as soon as it goes upside down, everything just shuts down, and it falls out of the sky, hits the ground. He's walking over to it. You can hear him mumbling and cussing. And he says, damn it, this is it. I've had it. I bought a 500X, and I crashed that on the Maiden. So I went out and bought a 550X, and I just destroyed this one on the Maiden. I'm done with helicopters. Shuts the camera off.
Alrighty.
It was really funny to watch that one. So
that's interesting. Yeah, you gotta wonder why he's got it on there.
It's interesting to note in my 600 build, a lot of the parts are compatible with a 550X. The frame is exactly the same, and I think a lot of the head parts are the same as well.
Right. Yeah, I was reading it. There's actually some of the aligned 600 parts that are compatible with the Blade 550X.
Hmm.
I don't remember specifically, but there are some.
A lot of people are wondering now what Blade has up their sleeve because they've essentially discontinued all their Proline models, the 500, 550, the 600, even the 700, except for the combo is the only one they haven't discontinued. And so
Yeah.
people are wondering what they're going to do.
Yeah, and they haven't said a word. They're not saying if. I mean, I'm assuming there's something coming out for the holidays because it's interesting that the local hobby store here, they don't hardly carry any helicopter stuff, but right about now, and they're doing it, they are loading up. The shelves and the aisles will be packed with every Blade heli you can think of, and even some of their newer quads. And I'll go in there a day or two after Christmas, and every single one of them will be gone.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Horizon's got to be selling a ton of that stuff during the holidays.
yeah. Well, Black Friday is going to come up pretty soon, about a month away. So
Yeah.
Just the season.
So Chris, did you hard mount your servos or did you use the rubber grommets?
I use the rubber grommets.
Okay. Just curious.
So everybody I talked to, I actually asked a couple of the Thunder Tiger team pilots because I was curious what their opinions were. Because I know some people will hard mount them because the rubber mounts introduce a little bit of opportunity for play in the system because they kind of move. But everybody I talked to pretty much said they'd much rather have that little bit of play to make it easier on the servos, and nobody notices the play at all from the rubber. So I went with them.
Okay.
But have you mounted yours yet or not?
Yes, I have the rubber grommets on right now, but I'm debating whether I want to leave them on. One of the Blade developers went out on the forum, and several people asked him that same question, and he said it doesn't really matter. He says if you put them on, just tighten them down until you mush that rubber down, flat, and the screws are getting tight. He said that's the key point. He said the rubber grommet thing came from the old gas and nitro days when there was dealing with a lot of vibes. It's not as important today with the electric stuff. He said so. As far as they're concerned, leave them on, take them off. It's really not going to make a difference with electric helicopters.
I guess the question is, which is hasn't changed, and this is kind of the question I was getting with when I was talking to the Thunder Tiger and Futaba guys was, in a crash, right? Which is more likely to save your servos? And they all agreed that the rubber dampeners give it just enough give that it might protect those gears. So I figured I'd go with that route. Can't hurt.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't fly at a level that I'm going to notice, a millimeter of that movement.
Right.
If it's even there. Not even sure if it really moves. They're pretty tight though. I mean, they're snug. But I've got the rubber grommets on the 550 as well. And of course, that came pre-assembled with the rubber grommets in there, and I figured, well, that must be the way it works. So.
You have to put quite a bit of force on them to actually see them move at all. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I would leave them on if I were you, but unless you notice a reason that you should take them off.
The reason why I took them off is because there is very, very little clearance between the servo arm and the canopy, and I was really concerned about that. So pulling them off gave me, I don't know, an extra 1.5 millimeters maybe.
Can you mount the ball on the inside of the arm?
That's where they're mounted.
Oh, okay.
So it's and a lot of people have complained about the canopy, and I mean, I could try taking a blow dryer heat gun, heat it up, and try to reshape it a little bit around the horn so it's not quite so close in. But I don't know. I'll have to think about that. What I want to do with that. I wish
Yeah,
there
I
was more.
think some of them also use a second set of mounts and put a rubber grommet on the end and just kind of use it as a canopy spacer to
Right.
keep the canopy away.
So other than I have to go hunt for batteries, that's what I got going on right now.
Well, don't forget, I still have that coupon code over at Rev Electrics.
You know what? I've been going out there for the last month, and they have the batteries that I want. It always says out of stock.
Really?
Yep.
On the Rev Electric Singapore?
Yep.
Huh. How are they out of stock? They like make them to order.
I know. I don't know. Every
Interesting.
time I go there, it says out of stock.
It must be something to do with the plates that they use for that particular size they make me out of or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. But I know they are, as far as I know, they're made to order, so they don't sit on a shelf. They're fresh,
Right.
which
That,
makes it odd to be out of stock.
that was one of my first choices, just to go there. But I've been going there for several weeks, and it just keeps saying out of stock.
Interesting. Cool. Well, let's see. What have I been up to? Probably the biggest thing in the last few weeks, actually there's two fairly significant items. One of them is I joined the hosting team at RC Hangar Time podcast. So if you guys aren't familiar with that podcast, it's one of the podcasts that talks about multi-rotors and helis and planes, kind of all things that fly in RC, which is kind of nice. I like the ones that are focused primarily on certain areas, like RC Heli Nation. They really only talk about helis, and there's the Crash Cast, which mostly talks about multi-rotors and planks. RC Today show is kind of a little bit of everything. So I kind of like a little bit of everything because that's what I'm into. So it works out well for me. But join those guys. Have done 2 episodes with them now. And we do them every week. We record on Monday nights, and they release. So far, they've been releasing on Monday nights. So if you haven't seen those guys, or I guess listened to that show, you can check it out. Not just because I'm on there now, but it's a pretty cool hour-long discussion about pretty much anything having to do with RC aero modeling. And they have started up a new concept, which I was chatting with Mike Connor, who's kind of the one who organized and set up the podcast originally. He started something called the Flight Club. So first rule about Flight Club is you tell everybody about it. Anyway, but it's kind of an interesting concept in bridging the gap between virtual clubs, like the RC Heli Nation guys have the citizen membership and all that. It's kind of all virtual, and then you got your local hobby clubs, your local flying fields and all that, which is kind of a localized thing. And the concept behind Flight Club is to sort of merge the two, where you have this virtual component where you're tied to this larger group of people who are, aero modeling, hobbyists, but at the same time you've got the concept of sort of localized chapters, by state. So it's interesting because it kind of allows people who don't have a local club affiliation to get involved, and being virtually, you kind of get tied to this larger group of people who have something in common, but you also kind of get the camaraderie out of having some local connections. So I know I've signed up to volunteer to be the Maryland president of it, and Derek, you're Indiana, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm the Indiana chapter president.
Okay, so it's kind of interesting. It's new, so it's going to take a while before it gets some traction, but it's free to join and costs you nothing. And if we get enough people connected, then I think there's some interesting potential that we could tap into. But I know, for example, the giveaways on the podcast are going to be the eligibility will be limited to Flight Club members. So since it's free to join, it's pretty cheap membership just to get your name in the hat for giveaways and things like that. And I know Mike wants to talk to vendors and sponsors to see if we can get giveaways and things like that. But initially, it's more like just a virtual. I mean, there's plenty of Facebook groups that people join where they have this virtual camaraderie. It's kind of another one of those, but has the added element of tying people together physically. So, as the Maryland chapter president, I would imagine here, once we start getting some people together, we'll try and make a plan to meet out maybe monthly at one of the clubs. Maybe it's my club, maybe it's somebody else's club. I don't know, but just to get together and have an intentional meet up where we can hang out and fly. So should be pretty cool. But at any rate, that's one thing that as if I don't have enough on my list of things to work on. Now I'm helping host the podcast, which thankfully I'm not running the show, so that I can go in, invest a little bit of time, have the discussion, and enjoy the show. But I don't have to worry about all the editing and all that stuff that Mike is doing to get it out published, so it makes it easier on me. But anyway, feel free to subscribe to that, check that out.
You have a link?
Yeah, so rchangertime.com is the website for the show, and they have a Facebook group, RC Hangar Time as well on Facebook if you're on Facebook, but
Google Plus?
I don't think there's a Google Plus site for them. I don't think.
I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, definitely go hit rchangertime.com, and you can see the the episodes are uploaded there, as is a little bit of information, and then of course I'm posting the shows on my website as well as they release. Since now one of the hosts, I guess I need to share them. So. But it's cool. It's a handful of guys that all have different aspects of in the hobby. One of the guys kind of has a business around doing aerial photography and videography, which is an interesting perspective. And you've got a couple of us that do helis, and then most everybody does planks or multi-rotors as well. So. Good broad perspective. So that's that, and then there is the issue of Search RC, which took a lot of time on a total whim. I was doing some research on the Raptor 700 build, and I like to look at how people lay out their electronics. For example, one of those things. I want to see a bunch of pictures of people's heli builds so that I can say, okay, I see what he did there. I see, he put the ESC. Okay, he's got the wires routed that way. Okay, that's interesting. Let me see what somebody else did or whatever. And I do a lot of that. And I find when I search for stuff like that, sometimes it's hard to find just those things. I have to go hit RC groups. I got to hit Heli Freak, and I got to hit whatever. Or if I hit Google Images, I get some of it, but I get a whole bunch of other images from online hobby stores and merchandise and marketing materials and all that. So I realized that the best way for me to quickly find what I was looking for is if I could get a way to search the forums all at once. There is a way to do it in Google. You can limit by site. If you put in the URL, you can put URL colon or site colon and kind of limit which location you're searching. And you could probably daisy chain those together for a complicated search query. But I wanted something just simple where I plug in a keyword and it automatically just does what I want it to do and goes and search those sites. So in typical forum, I looked for it. It didn't exist, so I thought, okay, I'll make it exist. How hard can it be? And realized how hard it can be, and probably why it doesn't exist. So I've taught myself JavaScript. It's entirely coded in JavaScript, and I'm using Google's API service to query their massive index of the world, and have limited that whole internet down to just right now a handful of forums, which oddly enough gives me a super relevant and quick response to things I'm looking for, almost entirely. Like everything I've looked for, I can almost find it in the first 3 or 4 hits that I get back on that search tool. So I think it's working really well for me. Whether or not it works for everybody else, I don't know. But I've been working on that for the last few weeks. Initially was just get it up and running so that it had core functionality, and then it was make it prettier, and then it was add functionality like thumbnails and JPEG or image search, limit by date features. Actually, I think it was you, Dave, right? Probably the first person that said, "Hey, can you limit by time frame?"
Right.
And probably a day later, I had 3 buttons to limit by week, by month, by year. So some of it was just somebody prodding me to hurry up and do that part. It was on the list, but it turned out to be next on the list after you asked. It's working well. I've got a couple of more ideas for what I want to do with it. I'd like to be able to make it so that you can deselect certain forums if you don't want results from them. Let's say you're getting a bunch of irrelevant results from one of the forums that you don't really care about. You could just uncheck that.
That would be cool.
I'd like to do that. And then the other thing is I'm working on a way right now to identify video content. Not searching YouTube, because I've been thinking about this, and I think YouTube has a really pretty decent search capability already. And if you're looking for YouTube videos, it's just as easy to go to YouTube and search YouTube for it. Although I could see some value in having the YouTube results intermingled in with the forum results, because it's all user-generated content. But what I was thinking is maybe looking for ways to key in on video links within the forums. And there's several different ways those are hosted. There's embedded URLs. There's like, I think I've counted 3 or 4, maybe 5 different ways that YouTube video links can be embedded into forum posts. So I might find a way to key in on those and then develop that as part of the search. But at any rate, I think that might be interesting as well. Especially even if I can present the videos, as embedded in the. I'm not sure. It might be too much trouble, and I just end up recreating what YouTube already does. But so that's that. We'll see if this costs me a small fortune when it's done, because I actually, not only do I, my time, which, I gladly donate for nonsensical things like this, but I pay for hosting on my website, which isn't that big of a deal. But with the Google searching, the Search RC, I actually pay for access to Google's APIs for search.
Oh, really?
So I get billed. So the more popular this gets, the more money it costs me. Which I don't say that to limit people's use of it. I'm just curious to see where that threshold is, because I think up to 1,000 queries a day are free. After that, you have to start paying. I already owe Google $10 just from the last couple of weeks because I've been testing, and every time I do a test, I run queries and queries and queries and queries, and trying to figure out the JSON results and then break those out and then build JavaScript to parse it the way I want it. And so I did a lot of test queries, and it cost me $10 right away. But I think that in normal usage, I probably won't have to pay. If people are, it's different behavior in actually using it and searching it. You might 5, 6, 7 queries in a session versus testing where I'll do 50 queries in a matter of 10 minutes. So I think it'll be fine, but if not, maybe my my ad revenue on my website will offset the cost. So, but so that's SearchRC, and if you're not familiar with SearchRC, I did put out a video yesterday just to kind of show it off a little bit. I think people are afraid to try something new until they've seen what it is, so I decided to share it. It's everythingcpo.com/searchrc if you guys are interested. I know a few of you have used it. Any feedback?
It's a pretty good search engine. It's come in helpful with my TSA build so far. I've searched a couple of things for TSA wire layouts and what exact extension links I need for the TSA stuff when I couldn't get an answer over on HeliFreak, and it came up like several different results for it. Just they recommended a 6-inch extension, and it was like the first 3 within the first 3 hits, so it actually works pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been using it on my 550X build. Although I have to say, I have a habit of just going to Google and typing this big old long search string with, all my delimiters and, limiting the site. And so it turns out to be, one really long sentence. I got to break myself of that habit and just learn to. What I need is I need to put a bookmark to that on my desktop, so I just boom, I go to it. It's there.
Yeah, that's cool. I kind of wish I could get a way to make it so that when you type in Google search bar, you type search RC and then whatever keyword you want, it would go run the query off of mine, but they won't, obviously do that. But right. You know how they'll do that for themselves. If you just type in Google something, it will like do a search or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I find myself, I still do the same thing. Well, not anymore. I pretty much broke the habit. But for a while, I would still like, crap. I forget. What I'd look up. Like, what's the? I can't even think of anything now I've searched for in the last couple of weeks. But something. Show me how to program the CGY 750, and I'll start with Google. And then, see the first page of results and immediately go, crap, wrong search engine. And then I go to SearchRC, and like I said, it's usually right away. Especially the more detail you give. If you say, Raptor 700, main gear, tooth count, I guarantee you somebody will have that result within the first, 1 or 2 hits.
Yeah.
And then. Of course, you can use all the same operators you use on Google, where you can use AND, well, ANDs is default, but you can use ORs, or you can use minuses to exclude certain things. So you can get kind of creative, but for the most part, the only thing I really use is the standard, word space, word space, word, or I'll put it in quotes to narrow down a specific phrase, which helps.
The nice thing about it is we'll go out and look at. You have sites in there that I wouldn't think to go look, so that's nice.
Yeah, I've actually found myself getting quite a few results of real value and relevance from RC Heli Addict, which honestly I hadn't really considered before. When I built the query, I at first did a search to figure out what forums were out there that I didn't know about, because there's the handful that I normally hit, which is RC groups and HeliFreak, and I try and remember RC Help, and I try and remember about the RC Heli Nation forums and the RC Today Show forums. But outside of that, I usually intentionally don't go anywhere else. So I had to kind of do a Google search to figure out what RC-related forums there were, and then a couple of people send me some requests, which I added to the list. And turns out those turned out to be helpful too. Mm-hmm. So I've got a good mix of heli forums as well as general aviation related forums. So the one thing I haven't decided, and I might fix this, is on the image search, I blow everything up all the images come back as 400 by 600, so you can see them, nicely, and it's all 10 per page, so you can kind of get a quick look at, hey, here's 10 images, next page, 10 more images, and then if you click any of those, they go to their full size, and if you click the link, they go to the site that hosts the image. So if you want to read the content of the forums about the image, but what I didn't do is exclude, and this is another to do, is to filter by image size. Like Google has, different size, big, small, medium, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I noticed some of my images coming back are like the little tiny icon placeholder images, like on RunRider, that are maybe 100 pixels by 150 pixels, and I'm blowing them up, or they're not rendering all the way. And I'm thinking I might cull those out and only show pictures that are, maybe 400 by 600 at a minimum, so you're not seeing a whole bunch of small little icons and stuff.
Right.
But I haven't played with it too much to see if that's going to be a problem. But I am taking every image that comes back as part of the image search and making it 400 by 600, which means if they're smaller, I'm blowing them up, and then you click on it and it shrinks it back down to the size it really is, which is kind of backwards. But anyway, talked enough about that. Let's see, the Raptor E700, those of you who have been keeping up with me on Facebook will know that I'm getting really close. I've got a little bit of content out on Google+, but I'll be honest with you guys. I've gotten to the point where I almost exclusively go to Facebook first for all of my just general interaction. I'm trying to manage keeping up with all three, actually, Twitter, Google+, and Facebook. I have an app on my phone called Every Post that will post to all three. If I want to put up a picture, I can just send it to all three at once. But when I just want to go interact with people and post content or go to a group, I default to Facebook because it really is where most people seem to be hanging out. So I know not everybody's on Facebook, but so I say all that to say there seems to be a weight of more updates and content on Facebook than anywhere else. So if you're looking for the most current stuff, for me anyway, even my website is out of date in comparison to Facebook. My website is sometimes maybe even a week or two behind what I've already posted on Facebook. So.
And your Facebook page, is that everything CPO as well?
My Facebook page is, if you do I'm kind of curious now if I do a search for everything CPO. Checking here. Everything CPO does not come up with me, but if you just type in CPO, I show up as the third hit right now. Past the Norfolk Ship Support Activity, Fiscal Year 14 CPO selectees, and some person named CPOP. My actual Facebook URL is CPO build fly crash repeat. So.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm more active on Facebook. It's just, that's where, if I want to talk to somebody like one of the Thunder Tiger team pilots, I can hit them up on Facebook Messenger, and have an answer almost instantly, where nobody is on Google+, or they're not as responsive. So, what was I going to say? There's something else. I was going to make a really awesome point, and I just forgot it. Okay. Oh, Facebook. Yeah, my name used to be CPO Chris on Facebook, and I had to do that because Facebook has pretty strict requirements on naming conventions. You have to use the real name, and they do some logic to try and figure out if you're using a real name or not. So I could get CPO in as my first name, but I couldn't make it like a one-namer or anything. It wouldn't let me use everything CPO. Because everything was a dictionary word, it just kicked that out. So I made CPO Chris, and then once you make your name, you can't change it for, I think it's 60 days. So I initially set it up. I had everything CPO, as a page, and I canceled the page because I didn't like using Facebook as a page. You can't, as a page, you can only interact with people on your page. I can't go comment on somebody else's picture or whatever as the page, which was frustrating to me because I wanted to interact with people. I just didn't want to be, an entity that people came to. So I got rid of the page, and I ended up being CPO Chris. And then everybody was calling me CPO Chris. I mean, you listen to even the RC Hangar Time guys called me CPO Chris once or twice, and the RC Heli Nation guys CPO Chris. It's like that became my name, and I'm like, I don't want to be CPO Chris. I'm just CPO, or Chris. You can call me Chris, but I'm CPO. The problem is Facebook won't let me use my nickname. So I thought, okay, I'm going to change my name, and I was looking at the rules and all that, and I thought, well, I'll put my real name, first name and last name, Chris Poldevart, and then I'll use my nickname as CPO, and it says your nickname will appear in your timeline with your name. So I'm like, okay, that's great, Chris CPO Poldevart. Everybody knows that's me and CPO. The problem is I changed it, and now on my timeline, all it says is Chris Poldevart. There's no reference to CPO at all. The only way you see CPO is if you go to my profile, it says it in parentheses, or if you search for my name, it'll say it in parentheses. But now I can't change it again for 60 more days. So, I think it probably confused a lot of people because it went from CPO Chris to Chris Poldevart, and no CPO at all in the name. So, sorry everyone if that's confusing, but that's me trying to work around Facebook, and unfortunately, I'm stuck to 60 days worth of whatever I select. So, that's all that's going on with me. Isn't that enough?
Yeah.
Did I say where I was at with the 700?
I think you started to, and then you veered off.
Then I went on a rant. Yeah, so it's pretty much built. I'm ready for a maiden. I was going to try and do it this weekend. But the honest truth is I have a lot going on right now, so I just don't think I'm going to get it out this weekend as much as I want to. So it'll probably be yet another week. The good news is it'll give me time to catch up on video. So I just pumped out a video today on the CGY 750 programming. I've got the Scorpion ESC programming video to do, and I've got a little bit of the here's my wiring and the servo setup videos to do. So maybe I can get caught up on that. Plus, I got this cool thing here that I need to do a video on. Oh, I can get it. Holy cow. This is the ominous Kodo, which is a micro quadcopter with a camera on it. So that should be fun to play with. But I've got this sitting around, another little toy to play with. So maybe CJ can have fun with that. That is it.
How
So
close is your how close
I'm
is
just gonna
your
say-
son ready to flying the 700?
Say that again. How close
close
is
is your Yeah, your son close to getting ready to fly the 700?
You want the honest answer?
Well, whatever you want to give us.
So here's the deal, and I feel really bad about this because I know a lot of people were supportive of me in the 700 build. A lot of it primarily because it was an opportunity to get my son involved, and we were excited, father-son thing. So everybody's kind of been watching for that angle. The problem is he's 12, about to be 13 in a couple months, and has lost all interest in simming, helicopters, airplanes. He's just lost interest, and so I'm trying to be not forceful. I don't want to force the hobby onto him. It's, I want it to be his hobby because he enjoys it, not because I'm making him do it. But the reality of it is, since I've been building this helicopter, it's been sitting out on the dining room table. He hasn't really paid much attention to it. He hasn't simmed at all. So I have a feeling his name is on the canopy. It says CJ Poldevar on the canopy. Whenever he decides it's time to learn, I'll be very supportive of that. But for right now, he's just not interested enough to learn how to fly it. And I'm not going to put him on it till he can show me that he can sim at least somewhat. So don't be surprised if you don't see any video of CJ flying it, but he'll probably be the one taking the video of me flying it, which is close enough right now for what we have going on. But he's 12, and his interests are sports. He's lacrosse and soccer are his primary interest right now, as is he's in school, which changed since the summertime. A lot of his focus is on his schoolwork. So it's kind of sad to say. As a father, I was really excited when he was excited, and when he lost momentum, it kind of bummed me out. But at the same time, it's there whenever he's ready to learn it. As are any of my toys. He can pick up anything as long as he shows that he wants to take that on. But for right now, with the 700, it's just not going to happen until he decides he wants it.
Might take another trip to Urcha.
Yeah, no doubt. That'll it'll definitely reinvigorate him. But the question is for how long, right?
Yeah.
It's seasonal for him, and the seasons are short. So whatever he's interested in hardcore for X amount of time, and then something else shiny will come along, and then he's off on that. The one constant has always been the sports. So it's kind of and I'm certainly not going to take away from that. He's been doing that for a lot longer than I've even been in the hobby. So I'm supportive of that with him, and next year for sure we'll go to Urcha again regardless. I'm just not sure if he's going to be flying by then or not, but we'll see.
Well, it happens with the kids nowadays. It's as you mentioned, it's the flashy thing. They're going to put their eyes there. It's not going to be the same thing. But yeah, don't push it. At least you're going to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. I kind of want to shame him into helping me with the build or something. It's not worth it. But it's an expensive thing that we took on together, and that's okay though.
Yeah.
More Raptor time for you.
Yeah, at least I don't have to fight him for stick time.
Yeah.
Dear time.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people were kind of, watching to see, that component, the father-son heli thing. I was really excited about it in the beginning, and I still, I'm excited for where we were after Urcha. It really was a life-changing moment for he and I in areas outside of even the hobby, just the bonding time we had together. But that season is gone, and now he's off doing his own thing with his friends and in sports, and next year we'll just fire it back up again.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. I wouldn't doubt if a lot of people had interest in that only because they would like to have that same experience with their kids. My kids don't have the slightest interest in anything RC or anything I do, which is really interesting because I have a lot of really cool hobbies, and all my kids' friends are like, "Wow, your dad does what? Wow, your dad does this. Wow, your dad does that." And my kids are they're not interested in any of it. So,
yeah. My neighbor kids think I'm the coolest guy on the block. Yeah. My son could care less.
Yeah.
Well, it happens.
Especially when they hit those teenage years. My mom used to say that aliens abducted me when I turned 13, and they didn't give me back until I turned 25.
Nice. Well, at least they gave you back.
Yeah, well, your kid is 12, right?
Yeah, and will be 13 in a couple of months. He turns 13 in December, and he although he acts more like he's about 15, he's always been about 2 years ahead of his time. So
he looks like a pretty tall kid.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, and you guys did notice the beard's a lot shorter this time. it got longer. I mean, I don't remember how long it was. I think I cut probably 3.5 or so inches off. But it was time. Go back to normal human life.
So your wife came at you with the scissors in the middle of the night when you were sleeping, or how'd
She
that happen?
threatened to a lot, but no, she never did. She was passively aggressive about the beard. She was sure to know that let me know that she didn't like it, but she didn't take any overt steps to make it go away. But I've got some things going on at work, and we've got some things going on. Just I felt like it was probably time to cut that back, and I wanted to let it go for a whole year, but it was getting away, and quite frankly, it was annoying the heck out of me after a while. So it's gone.
Yeah, I have a friend who did the same thing. He actually let his hair and his beard go for a whole year. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, that would be tough to lose hair too. My wife definitely wouldn't stand for that. So what else you guys got? We got some time left.
Yep. Dave, what happened to your plane?
I still have it. It's over here hanging on the wall. I just haven't had time to. Ever since the 550X came in, I haven't touched anything else.
Okay, that explains it.
But it's yeah, I got to take it back out again because it was a little bit windy the day I took it out, and it's been really calm lately, and I've been wanting to get it out on a calm day just to be able to feel it and trim it out, and because on that real windy day it felt a little nose heavy. I don't know if that was more the wind or anything, but if it's calm outside, I'll have a better idea if it was actually a little nose heavy or not.
No, it was very cool. It ended up very cool. It's one of the nicest scratch builds I've seen.
Yeah, I'm surprised how well it flew. I had no clue what was going to happen when I put it in the air. I didn't know, like I said, I think the only thing I did maybe is made the rudder a little bit small. I probably could have went a little larger on that, but that's not a big deal.
Well, you always can modify that.
Right, that's very easy to do. But it's always interesting when you scratch build something and then the first time you put it in the air because you really have no clue, what it's
That's
going to
gonna
do.
be, yeah.
And when it goes up and it just behaves itself, it's just to me that's just one of the coolest things.
Tell me about it. I'm building like a Spectre type, and yeah, I have no clue what to expect from this thing. So I'll post some pictures when I complete that project.
Nice. Hey Clay, how you doing, man?
Finally here.
Oh, he's muted.
We can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Yes, I'm here.
There you go.
I like your shirt.
Yeah, you switched it up. Today's the day I work. The old schedule, it was on my every other Friday off. On this schedule, it's on my work Fridays. So.
Sorry, man.
Plus, it was a long day, and when I pulled into the neighborhood, a couple houses down, they had the whole front yard dug up. Water main up there busted, so we were out of water. So I was unable to come home, jump in the shower, and do my normal routine. It's been a day.
Nice. Well, what have you been up to in the hobby last couple weeks?
Flying. Doing a good bit of that. Having a lot of fun with the 550. Had a lot of fun with the 450, and then ended up crashing it the other day on the last battery of the day. It always seems to be the last battery with me. I don't understand.
It's that just one more thing.
It is. But doing good. Been working on my funnels, half Pyros and Pyros, flips. Those are getting cleaned up a little bit. Having fun with those. And I actually got the airplane out and flew the Thunderbolt for a little while. It was fun. And this evening, ended up with a 72-inch
Whoa.
yak.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
Where'd you get that?
a buddy of mine couldn't get it to work, so well, it worked. He's not a plane guy, so so I'm gonna break it down, clean it up, and throw it back together and see what happens. But it's huge. It's a DLE 30, 72-inch wingspan. So I'm interested to see how it works.
That's big.
Something else to take with us if I needed a new project. So,
Yeah. That's awesome.
but other than that, just the normal stuff. How about you guys? What I miss?
Let's see. Let's start all over. Rifted, what have you been up to? Just kidding. You missed a lot of craziness. That's about it. Everybody's building something right now, I think.
In the middle of.
Building.
Matter of fact, Dave, how are you liking that 550?
The build is going really well. I have to say, I'm impressed with the build quality. It goes together so well. I don't know if I've ever built a helicopter where it's been absolutely, it's just perfect. It's perfectly smooth. And, there's nothing, there's no tweaking, there's no adjusting, there's nothing. You just put it together and it's perfect as is.
What was it?
Now,
whether it flies or not.
No, I tell you from looking at my buddies that several of the guys here fly them. Matter of fact, one of the local guys, Cortez, he used to fly for Synergy, and he's flying for Blade now. He's a Horizon pilot now. Another guy that's helped me out a lot in the industry, he works at Hobbytown, and most of the Hobbytown stock Blade stuff. That's just their Horizon products, their go-to, whatever. Right. But anyway, so several guys out here have the 550 and the 700, and it's a solid machine. It flies wonderfully.
Yeah, I remember seeing the Blade 700 last year at the Hella Freak Fun Fly, and when somebody told me it was a Blade, I was like, "You're kidding me!" I couldn't believe it. It not only did it look nice, the guy just it flew really nice, and I talked to the guy. He just absolutely loved it. He was completely sold on it, which is I've rarely heard that about a Blade product in the past. Usually, people like them or they hate them. I've never actually run into people who just all out loved it, and he did. And the thing just flew great. It looked great. So the way it's going together, I don't expect it to be anything but a very good helicopter.
I know that the 700's got a lot of good press from RC Heli Nation. Those guys did that review, and every once in a while I hear them talking about it, and it just keeps it in the forefront because I keep thinking, but it's got to be good. I guess I can't say that. At least they're saying positive things about it, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to go out there and look at the different builds for something like that, because I'd say the majority of people are building them right, but there's even a handful of people out there who are just buying the kits and throwing Hobby King servos in them and Hobby Wing ESCs and still saying it's a great flying helicopter. So. Well,
I am a fan of Hobby Wing ESCs. And I'm actually, I can't say too many bad things about my Turnigy servos, but I think Hobby Wing has come a long ways, especially with their V3 series.
I agree. I almost went with their ESC.
I've got one of those in my 450 now and my 500, but
I don't have any experience with those. The Align ESCs, which actually I thought was a good ESC. I didn't like the governor mode in it, but other than that, I thought it was solid. And but I switched everything to Castle. They just, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm putting a Castle Phoenix Edge 130 in it, so that should be really nice.
Yeah.
I like all the logging. The more data I have, the more comfortable I feel.
Well, you know what? When I first got it, the charger had the logging, the new SCs had the logging, and I thought with all this stuff, I will want to look at it more, and I really don't. Every now and then I'll touch base on it just to see if things are still good. But I'm not. I didn't nerd up on it as much as I thought I would.
How much do you pay attention to the logging of your charger?
When I first got it, it was every time I put it back on, I was looking at everything.
Is it just to look at? I mean, just to watch the thing tick up as the voltage goes? Is that? I mean.
Yeah, well,
I would do.
There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, and a lot of stuff that you can do with it that I don't even know how to do. But like I said, I just thought the more, like Dave said, the more information, the better. But
First, I was saving all my log files and cataloging everything, and now I don't even put it on the computer anymore. I just do it, through the front panel.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
If you have a problem, you can pinpoint it if you save the
This is
file.
my log for my batteries. That's it. Plain piece of paper.
Nice. I don't even do that anymore. I number the batteries.
Yeah, I was about to say this
track of them. But
is what I do. I write the date on the end of the battery and see how long it lasts.
That's another solution.
yeah, I'll put a number on it so that I can, if I have a problem with one, either where it feels like it's discharging prematurely, or when I charge it the cells are out of balance or something, I'll make note of the number, a mental note, and then the next time I run it or charge it, I'll kind of check it to see if it's back in line or if it's acting goofy. And if it's acting goofy consistently, I'll try and get rid of it.
Yeah.
About the only thing that I log on batteries is the internal resistance readings. And it's only if it's, like you said, it was sagging or acting a little funny in the air. I'll make sure to log those if it's acting weird, and then I'll check to see if they've kind of evened out after I go a couple of cycles on it.
Yeah.
Do you get a baseline?
When I first get them, I will do that. I'll log in the internal resistance, and I'll save the first file on them, and then after that, I just go with it until, like you said, there's a problem. At that point, then you want to look at it, but in between there, it's not much. It's just something else to suck up more time.
Yeah, the problem with internal resistance, though, is it takes about 5 cycles for that to settle down. So it'll drop as you cycle it a few times. So I haven't logged them on my new batteries, but I'm going to try and get them to a point where, after X number of cycles, I make note of it. The interesting thing is I'm using split packs. I don't know. Does anybody else here use split packs, or have you used? Yeah.
I don't have a machine requiring two packs.
So the problem with that is your cell number, is it 3 or number 4, has like double the IR. Maybe not double, but it's got a higher IR because you've got the bullet connectors to connect the 2 cells together to merge the two. Basically, it's 2 3S batteries, right? 2 3S batteries combined into a 6S, or is it?
Mine's 12S for my TSA. It's 2 6S packs, and with mine it's number 1 and number 1 on each pack, so it'd be 1 and 6.
Okay, so mine are the 6S packs, which have the 2 3S basically merged as a split, and so I think it's my number 3 or my number 4 that is elevated. And the first time I saw that, I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with the cell? And I forgot, and actually checked with somebody and found out, oh, well, the connector adds resistance, but it surprises me how much resistance gets added to that cell for that connection point.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now, your split packs, do you have them tied in as one, or do you have a jumper coming out of the ESC? So, like, do you plug them in as 2 6-cell, or do you plug it in as 1 12-cell?
Mine's 2 6-cell in series. So I've got a jumper that comes out of the ESC that goes off to the put it into a series connection. That way I can use my packs for other stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And you, well, of course, you charge them separately. So.
Yeah, so on mine too, it's the same thing, two 6Ls in series, and I can actually plug them in. I have all of my battery connectors split, so they're not, most connectors, the positive and negative are attached at the connector, and I have them all split, so they're separate cords. And then because the cords are long enough, I can essentially plug them in series and still have the positive and negative from either side, and then plug those into my ESC. But it's a little bit awkward just in getting them run the way I want them on the 700. So I did make an adapter which kind of merges the two and brings them closer to the back for me. So I've got one. Actually, it's two separate cables, one positive and one negative. And the other thing it does is the positive side has the anti-spark little cord coming out of it, so I can plug in the anti-spark first. So I plug in the positive or the negative first, then I plug in the small anti-spark, and then I plug in the full-size positive, and that sequence seems to work well. And then when I unplug, I can either unplug the negative and then kill the whole thing, or unplug the anti-spark and then the positive.
Does that anti-spark thing work well?
It works phenomenally well. Like, I get 0 spark when I plug in my 12S battery pack.
Yeah, if you're running 12S, you definitely want the anti-spark. That's a scary spark when you first see it happen.
I have. It is scary. Yeah, I've seen it.
It's a scary spark. It's one of those things. Did I just short my battery, or did I just blow my ESC out? I recommend running the anti-spark.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to add that to my Raptor 550. It does not have anti-spark. It's just a 6S, but I get a fairly significant little spark jump whenever I plug that in. So I'm just going to add in that little feature. It's
I don't get a big when I run the 5500 milliamp 6L packs, and I got an EC5 connector on it, and I mean. You can hear it a little bit, but it's nothing like putting in a 12 cell. Not even close.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's all I hear is just maybe it's relative, but the 12, because I've always used the anti-spark when I plug that in, I've never once even had a spark, let alone a big one.
I was always curious if they were actually as good as they say they are.
Make a video.
Well, the funny thing is the Scorpion ESC came with the little anti-spark pigtail with it off the positive lead, and what I don't know is it just a straight lead, or is there a resistor in there?
There's a resistor.
I think most of them have a resistor, right?
Yes, it's a small resistor that's in there. The 90 amp that I had it too.
So it's somewhere inside the ESC then, because I don't see it out on the pigtail at all.
It's on board on the Scorpions. On the Castle ones, you can actually kind of see where it is. Also, it's on the board there too as well.
Cool. Yeah, but it works really well.
So Castle makes one too. Now, what do you just plug it in a line coming out of the ESC?
Yes.
Okay, might have to look into that.
So that's why another reason why I made a pigtail adapter for my my 12S stick, my battery tray with two 6S's on there. I don't necessarily need it to function, but what it does is it allows me to put that little pigtail for the anti-spark part, and I don't have to put it on each battery. So I can run normal batteries, because I use the batteries for the 700 or for the 550 as well, but I don't have to have anything special for the battery, just a standard connector. And then when I plug them, when I build the brick for the battery tray for the 700, I just add on that little anti-spark pigtail, and it works out fairly well. I thought about putting the pigtail on the batteries themselves, which would mean I'd have to buy, X number of the little 2mm bullets, and then add those to every single battery. And I figured it'd be easier just to make one of them and then share it.
Have you made in that 700 yet?
No. No, that's what you missed before you came on. I was hoping to do it tomorrow morning. Actually, I had plans to try and go to the field, but it's not going to work out. So it'll probably be another week before I get a chance to go maiden it. I mean, I could maiden it in my front yard. I could hover it, but I want to take it out to the field for the maiden.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all right. I'm patient. More patient than most of you guys are.
Yeah, dude, I have none, zero.
Yeah, normally I'll maiden them on the side of my house, but I don't think I'm going to do that with a 550. I think I'm going to take it out to field somewhere.
Yeah.
I said I wasn't going to, but I did. I have a large tree in my front yard, so what I normally do is the micros, I'll zip them in and out of the trees and up and down the road. The 450, I would take it off in my driveway and follow it out to the street and kind of turn around the power pole into my neighbor's yard because they don't have a tree. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that with the 550. I was like, it's just too big. And I was like, no, I'm gonna set it up a little bit here and then take it to the field and fine tune it. And that's what I did. And as a matter of fact, every day if I'm home and there's enough daylight, and I can't go fly, I'm gonna fly in the neighbor's yard. They're pretty good people. They don't mind. Matter of fact, they thanked me this week because I blew the leaves out of the yard with the heli.
My neighbor works at the AMA, so she doesn't have a problem with me flying at all. She might have an issue with the 600 or 700 hovering in the side yard there, but 500, 400, and smaller, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Nice.
But let me say it again. It's hovering. You can't open up, not in their yard.
Right. That's all I've been doing in my backyard. Is some basic hover, real quick, short forward flight burst and quick stop, and that's about it. Nothing.
Yeah, a couple pitch bumps and then bring it right back down.
Yeah.
Yep.
CPO, what about your big charger? Do you use it also to charge in parallel or something like that?
Yes, I do parallel charge with it. I've got the MPA, the multi-port parallel adapter.
Yeah, the big thing. But how many batteries you can charge at the same time?
6.
Well, you can charge. Well, yeah. I mean, even on mine, you can charge up to 6, but it depends on the amperage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
So,
if you charge 6, you're getting less amps per battery.
But my charge will
And it
max out
balances?
at 30 amp.
Okay.
So if I was doing a 5,000 milliamp pack, and I put 3 of them on there, that's 15. That's half my power there. So I could do 3 of them at a 2C charge, but that's all I could get.
But it balances?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm getting, I think, a max of 40 amps out of my PowerLab 8. So, yeah. So right now, I haven't charged 6 at a time. Right now, I'm just charging them in pairs. And but I only charged about 2C anyway, so it works out pretty well. But I've got a whole stack of batteries, I've got 4 more batteries that have yet to see the charger. That I've been waiting on the 700 build before I even put connectors on them. So I'll build those up probably this weekend and get them charged and cycled through maybe a couple times, and then I'll be ready to go.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering what was the difference between the chargers. They have 4 different chargers within a single unit, and yours regarding the balancing and taking care of the battery. So I was wondering that.
Yeah, so you can set it to pretty much do whatever you want, but mine's set to balance charge every time I charge.
I do too, every time.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've gotten to where typically I'll do a two. I've never charged over 2C, but I'll charge on a 2C every time, pretty much, and then every now and then I'll do an individual 1C charge and not do a balance charge with a bunch of batteries. I just do one pack.
Uh-huh.
Just I don't know. I guess in my mind it's just it's like the charger can focus on one battery, and just every now and then just do that just to kind of
Condition. Yeah.
condition or something. I don't know. It makes sense to me, but I charge typically. I'm 2C all the time now, but like I say, I cap out at 30. So 3 cell, I'll do 6 of them at a time. The 6 cell, I only do 3 at a time.
Okay. I was wondering how that worked. And yeah, because I do have one charger. They have 4 different chargers within a single unit. It works for me. But yeah, I was wondering the difference between those chargers and the big ones, like the one CPO purchase. I was wondering that one, how it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I haven't figured out how to do with that charger yet is charge all the small stuff. I know that MPA has a bunch of different little ports for like the little micro 1S batteries and for charging receiver packs and transmitter packs. I just don't know how to use any of it, and I haven't had time to figure it out.
Mine does the same thing. It just gets like a different board. Got it. Like this one is just the whole. This one's for the 130X. It's just the same board. It's just.
Yeah.
I mean, but I can charge 6 of my little 130X packs on this one. But they all of them use the balance lead, and it runs to each of them. So it'll balance them and do the whole bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I use the same board on mine to charge my MCPXBL batteries.
Matter of fact, I gotta fix mine. I swear I've got more money in that 130 than I do my 450.
You take care more of the big one than the little one.
Well, the little ones just keep getting you like constantly. The big ones just like only if you crash, and then the little ones it's just like it's always something.
Oh yeah. It's way cheaper to fix.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of my 130X. It's big enough that it's fragile, but small enough that it's annoying. It's a weird.
It's pretty quick too. That's the thing that gets me is how fast they are.
Yeah, that's how the MCPXBL is. It's it's very comparable to the 450. That thing it's very quick. It gets out of range, out of eyesight very fast if you're not on it. But it is kind of fun.
So what are you guys' thoughts on the 180 CFX?
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to get over, like I said, the 130 and how much of a part hog it became, and I don't know if I want to dive into that again.
Have you seen the video where they're TikToking it and doing pyro TikToks with it?
Yeah, it's got a strong motor, it seems.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good contender, but I'm still kind of on the fence about it. I've never owned a 130X, but I know a couple people who have, and they don't like them. And they were like, I'm not buying it. So I don't know. If they buy one, I might get a chance to fly one, but I don't think I want to buy it.
Yeah, there's a guy here that has a 130, and for the most part, he hates it. He says it takes a lot of work and tweaking to get it to fly really nice, and when it's flying really nice, he loves it. He says, but once you get it there, you don't touch it, and you pray and hope that something doesn't break on it or go out, because then it's just like starting all over again.
Well, see, you don't even have to do that. I can take mine, and it flies one day beautifully. Just I have a blast with it, no crashes. I bring it in, do whatever. The next day, I take it out, and it's finicky. It's just like starting over again. And it didn't crash. All it did was wait 24 hours. I don't understand it. I mean, I really don't.
You can't understand it. It's not understandable.
There's helicopters that behave like that. I had a Raptor 60 Nitro, which was afraid of flying. So every single time we pick it up, something went wrong with it, and we can check it, recheck it, and check it for a complete hour. And every single time that we bring it up, something happened to the helicopter. So we ended up like it's afraid of flying. It's one of those, and it was a Nitro. It was a big helicopter. Then I changed to the T-Rex, and everything went well. So yeah, there's helicopters like that.
But I'm kind of over it. I think it's interesting. I think it looks neat. I would love to try one, but the 180. But that's 2 6L packs for me. I think I'll wait.
Yeah, that's why I would go Nitro.
So are you getting one power?
No, I don't think I will. I mean, I may if I can get somebody who has actually flown one to give me a lowdown on it and see what they think first. Really, I haven't met anybody yet that's actually flown one. I'm just, I'm too busy. I got too much money that I'm going to have to wrap up in the Rush 750 build before I do anything else.
Yeah, how's that going? I remember you were talking about that I think last time we were on.
The Rush 750, I won a free Rush 750 Evo from Helis RC on Facebook. So now I've got to buy a bunch of stuff for it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny how winning the airframe costs you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait! It was the JR. Was it the JR you had that you were working on?
I put the kibosh on that for the time being. I have spare parts laying around for it, but I don't have the kit for it yet because JR was out of stock on the kit when I was ready to buy. And I was waiting for him to come back in, and then I got into the TSA 600, and then I won the Rush. So it got to the point where the Forza can wait. It's a nice helicopter. I do want one eventually, but it's going to have to wait now.
Yeah.
And that's good marketing right there.
Fellas, we had a pumpkin carving party here at the house last night, so there's a ton of sweets left over upstairs. So I'm gonna go get jacked up on some sugar before I go to sleep, so I can work tomorrow.
Nice.
I bid you guys a good evening.
Right.
Fly, guys. Post up some videos.
All right, man. See you later.
Night.
Any cool videos anybody have seen lately? Like flight tests, flying the microwave. Have anyone seen that?
No, did they fly a microwave?
Yep. It's a pretty cool video.
I think I saw links for that, but I didn't click on it.
Oh, you can watch it later.
Yeah, I subscribed to their YouTube feed, and that popped up a few days ago, but I didn't watch it.
Okay. And CPO, what happened with the subscribers? I'm interested in that Futaba radio.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Let me see where I'm at on subscribers.
Last time I checked, it was 2875, I think.
Let's see. It's hard. User CPO Heli. Looks like I'm at 2875. Yeah, so 125 subscribers to go, and I'll give away the Futaba 8J.
Come on, people, subscribe.
Yeah, it should go by pretty quick. I think I'm averaging. Actually, let me look here.
Yeah, check it out.
Analytics. I figured it'd be a couple weeks probably, but we'll see. I'll look at the history.
I put in a big shout out. Try to contact as many people.
So, in the last 28 days, I've had 254 subscribers.
Okay. So we may take.
So last 7 days has been 61. So
By the end of next week, might be.
yeah, I think I've been averaging somewhere around like 50 a week. Let's see, the last 30 days is 267. So yeah, I don't think it'll be more than a week or two before we hit 3,000.
For the next hangout.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good topic.
So I'm kind of bummed though because I kind of want to keep that 8J and use it for my planes, but
There's gonna be a lucky winner.
You could still use it for your heli. It does come with a little spring tab that you can replace in there to take away the ratcheting action a little bit.
yeah, it does, and it comes with all the same heli models, configuration stuff. So, but I already have a 8FG for my helis, so I don't need it.
Tell people that it also would work for multi-rotors, so they're probably going to be interested.
Yeah, these days. Yeah, it's FPV ready. I'll just tell them that.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, it's funny. Speaking of FPV, I'm getting ready to hopefully build a little FPV racer here pretty soon.
I got you one that I just recently built. Give me 1 second.
So Casper, I know you'll appreciate this, but Dave Frederick with TerraRCHeli.com, he has also Alpha RC, which is his own custom brand. That he's got some helicopter stuff that he's been dabbling with, but he basically designed his own 250 size quad for racing, FPV racing. So he's making it available for sale here pretty soon, and I'm hoping to get one from him. But he had some manufacturing setbacks, like he was ready to go, and then something didn't pass his quality control, so they're redoing some frames. Otherwise, it'd probably be out already. But it should be interesting.
Yeah, I thought about doing that. It looks really interesting.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. All right, what are you showing us, Rifted?
Oh, okay. So this is one of the frames that RC Timer is selling, and also Hobby King. It's the Alien Copter, which is foldable. The build was pretty straightforward. It flies very well. I used to fly it. My FPV rig was a SK450. I was not that much in love for the FPV, so I went forward and purchased one of the Alien Copters, and it's pretty good quality, and it's not that expensive. It's worth a try.
Nice.
Yeah, I fly it on 3-cell, and it's very docile. And,
What flight controller are you running on that?
NASA Lite on this one.
Okay.
On my big one, on the Tarot, I do mount it with the NASA version 2.
Okay.
And gimbals and all the 9 whole yards on it. And I'm still gonna mount the downlink to my FPV that I purchased a monitor, a little monitor, and yeah, I'm building like a FPV station so I can go a little bit further without moving the goggles and all that things.
Right. Cool. Hey Nick, how's it going, man?
Going good. How are you, Chris?
Good, man. What have you been up to?
Avoiding the 7 days of rain indoors, it seems, for the longest time now.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Just got my new motor in the mail, so I'm finishing up my second Forza build. The dogs.
Still liking the Forza?
Yes, very much so. Got tons of flights on my other one, and figured I needed a backup machine because I would be heartbroken if I had it down for any length of time. So
Nice.
Yeah.
about the same setup. Going with a little bit bigger motor. Went with the 540 kV versus the 520 kV. Same 160 speed control castle. Nothing else really changing. Same icon flybarless, JR servos.
What size pinion are you running on that?
Yeah.
540.
They come stock with an 11 tooth, which gets you up to that 2100 range. I've got 12 tooth on both of mine, and they're saying, which they say is out, a 13 tooth for some of the yet other KV motors that are coming. Because I've seen some 560s and other ones that are out there. They've only made 50 of to see what the market was like.
Right. Interesting. My Raptor came with a 13 tooth, and I downsized to a 12 tooth with a 500 kV motor. But I'm almost kind of wondering if I shouldn't. An 11 would probably be just about perfect for that motor. But
yeah, if you run it through Mr. Mel's head calculator to see the gearing versus your KV and what batteries they're running and all that.
There you go.
Yep, right here. That's for what I got right now. So.
And what speed controller are you gonna run?
I'm running the Scorpion Commander V series, the 5.
Okay, so yeah, he would run typically a smaller gear. Like with a Castle, they always want you to run a higher gear so that it can have some headroom to get that head speed back up. Where typically with the Scorpion and the Contronics and that, they usually put the gearing pretty spot on.
Yeah. Now this is showing on Mr. Mel at 90% throttle, which he's calling full throttle, is 2165, and then the low at 60% is 1763. So I was planning on running somewhere around like 1950. So that's looking like about 75% throttle curve.
So what's it say your max RPM is based upon voltage time? That's up in that. That's like the third reading there at the top.
No, it doesn't say. It says estimated lowest voltage during flight is 41.4. Lowest RPM due to voltage and efficiency is 1746.
Okay.
But it doesn't say the maximum.
I thought it did at the top above. Turn that sheet around again. Let me see the top. Estimated voltage. Okay, so that was what, and you put that in as the Scorpion V bar gov?
Yeah, the Scorpion, I think it was just Scorpion Commander series or something like that is what it said.
Right. I think if you select the V bar as an option for how it shows you the gov setting, I want to say that it shows you the average RPM maintained across that pack's life of voltage. So it takes into account, it starts at 40 or 50 volts, but then your lowest voltage is, like it says there, 41 or whatever.
Right.
So then you're looking at keeping, where can I maintain an RPM that no matter as the battery comes down and as the voltage comes down, the RPMs drop, where can it find a happy medium to run without, as you see the voltage come down, lose an RPM at the end.
Right. So it accounts for that potential voltage sag.
To maintain the selected RPM throughout the flight.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I don't think I have any worries with that because I'm going to be running low enough in the range anyway that it should have plenty of headroom, I would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to pick 1950 as my target head speed to start out with, and then just go from there and see if it's too fast or too slow based on feel, probably.
Yeah, and with the 700, 50 or 100 RPMs is quite a field change just in control sometimes. So 1950 might be that sweet spot for cruising around, and then if you want to, get those tighter feeling TikToks, you might try like just 2100, just 50 more. It might just make it that much stickier just when you're doing that. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I set my throttle curves up so that I have my normal mode is always 0 flat. It's almost a safety.
Arming mode.
Yep. But my idle up one is, I think I'm running 75%, which according to this is going to be about 1950-ish, 1960. And then I've got, I think, idle up 2 at 80%, which would put it at 2030, something like that. So that's almost 100 RPM jump between idle up 1 and idle up 2. So it should be good for testing anyway.
And then, when you start that, if it's saying 72 or 73, you might go up 1 or 2 points up or down on either one of those to kind of find the sweet spot where the helis just feels real good.
Yeah.
No matter what the RPM really is.
So I did set up on that ESC has the auto rotation bailout mode that if you drop the throttle to 20%, it will go into auto rotation, basically throttle hold, but it will if you release the throttle hold, it'll instantly fire back up again to full speed. So I've got my throttle hold switch actually set for take it to 20% throttle, and it seems to work okay just in bench testing. So it makes it even more important that I've got normal mode set for 0, so that it'll arm. Because it won't arm in throttle hold, which is kind of something I'll have to get used to. I'm used to putting it in throttle hold and letting it arm in throttle hold, but now I have to take it out of throttle hold to get it to arm and then put it back in. So,
which is good if you get used to booting up your radio, let it boot up, then flip your throttle hold on. Go ahead and plug in your power for your packs. Your speed control will count the number of cells, and then it'll pause. It'll just sit there until you flip out a throttle hold, and then you'll get whatever final arming tones. I always carry mine all the way to the field, set it down, then I flip out a throttle hold, hear the tones as I walk away. That now it's armed. We're safely away from the flight line.
Yeah, that's exactly how I do it.
It just beeps annoyingly at me until I actually arm it. It gives some sort of a triple error beep, like throttle not low position sort of a beep.
Right.
Which is it works great. But so do you run your throttle hold at 20% or something higher than 0? I take it.
Yeah, we calibrate to that auto rotation shutdown point. So I'll start it up and have just like a 30% throttle curve to start with in that normal, just to get the head going. And to set the throttle hold, I go ahead and flip that throttle hold on and have it high enough that when I flip it on, that the motor or basically the rotors are still turning or the head's still rotating. And then I just back it down till it just shuts it off. So it's just low enough to kick it out of that mode, which is on mine like 15, positive 15 to positive 9, just depending on how the throttle calibrated with the speed control. But
interesting.
Yeah, I think mine's like at 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I backed it down until it kicked the motor off, and I think I bumped it down a couple more points and left it there.
Yeah, I think most of the castle instructions say take it 2 more points there.
Yeah, I guess I find it interesting. I'm fairly new at this, but I find it interesting. You would think throttle hold you'd want it 0, and I was a little bit leery at first putting it to 20%, thinking, okay, yeah, this isn't going to turn off. It's just going to slow down. But it really does. The ESCs do a lot of math and say, okay, well, he puts it at 20, so I know what he means, and just kills it, right? So
it's got to be at 20% stick or better to actually tell it to kind of spool up anyway. But you have 0 to 100 to work with. 0 being the starting point. That's where you got to arm. 15 being like a hold point, and then anything between there is throttle curve. And like on the Scorpion's real nice, you can just raise or lower that to adjust your RPM. You don't have to keep going back into the controller and telling it, no, I want this RPM, no, I want this RPM. So handy at the field when you're fine-tuning that final feel on your collective, where you can just move that point up or down 1% or something. So.
Yeah, I should only have to deal with the throttle curves at that point, right?
Right. Yeah. And I know like Itaba does it, and JR has it, where you can put that on like a slider so that you can slide it up 1 or 2 clicks, and then you can look later and say, well, it added 2 points to it, so it'd be 72 or 73. Reset that and turn that slider off.
Yeah, I gotta say I don't take as much advantage of sliders and knobs as I probably should, but that's because I'm always leery. I'm gonna bump them or leave them in a position where I don't want them.
Yeah, I say most of the newer radios beep if the switches aren't in your preset position for that model. You can put in, warnings that this switch isn't switched, and some of those switches won't work if you don't already have another switch that's already thrown too. Like my flight modes, since I do the normal mode for my zero arming like you're doing,
Hmm.
I added a secondary flight mode switch so that I can flick it to get other throttle curves in there. So I want 70, 73, 80, 82. So I have a range to play with however I want, however my style of flying that day. So I have an extra switch, but it doesn't do anything unless the first one's switched, and then it gives me two more positions.
Yeah, that's how the 8FG kind of has. I think it's called a combo or something that will let you trigger certain things based off of a combination of two different actions. So that makes sense. But I did find it kind of bugs me that the Futaba 8FG, at least, I don't know if it's the same for the 14, but the knobs are by default built into the I know for sure the throttle curve as an adjustment variation, because I was looking at my throttle curve in normal mode when I was just first doing my setup before I actually started setting my throttle curves, and no, it was my pitch curve, and it was 100 to 100, negative 100 to 100, it's straight, pitch curve like I would want, but the center point was down below by like 15 or 20%. So it wasn't going through the center line. I'm like, why the hell is my curve not going through the middle? It kind of like it sounds funny, but it actually curved around the middle, and it would hit the minus 100 and curve, and then hit the, and no expo or anything. And I'm looking, and I couldn't figure out, and it took me a while. But it was programmed so that one of the knobs could adjust that middle point, and the knob was tweaked a little bit. And I found out if I turn that knob, it brings my center point back up. I'm like, holy crap! I go in and delete that knob.
8103. There's been a couple JR radios, but that was around. We used hover pitch and throttle pitch trim during flybar days because you could get the swash plate level and everything else looked pretty level. But when you got out there, those two weren't quite balanced out level. So then you could use those to fine tune. Like if I felt like my stick was high while I was hovering, but I really wanted it more towards center, I could click that down and it would bring center to where the stick needed to be.
Nice. Well, that's hella annoying on the flybarless controller.
Yeah.
So I had to find a way to disable that, which was easy to do. But it took. I'm like sitting there scratching my head, going, "How the hell is this not going through the middle? Why is it not going?" And it was that little stupid knob that by default on a new model is configured, and of course the knob was turned.
And if you know those little fine adjustments over time from playing with your radio, you'll take a blank model, tweak those things out the way you want, leave it blank, call it blank, and copy it to all your other positions before you set up a new model so that you don't have to how'd I turn that off?
Yeah, I wish I'd have done that before I made this new model, because I did exactly that thing that you just said, which is I know I went through this with my 550, but I don't remember what all the little settings I did up front were. And I wish I would just stop and make a blank model that is the way I want it and then copy it, but I still didn't do that.
This works this way. Kind of thing.
Yeah. But I knew about it the first time because I watched a video on setting up the 8FG, and it said, hey, the first thing you need to do is go disable these two things because they're there by default and they're annoying. So on the 550, I did that right away because I watched the video. I thought I was smarter on the 700, and I just went from memory and forgot about the stupid knobs. So,
and at JR, there's a couple of them that I wish were on by default, like throttle hold when you do a heli should be on. It shouldn't be inhibited. It should
right.
And it's go in, turn it on. Which you're to that point when you're doing it sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, it's getting late. It's a little past 11 here, so I'm going to turn into a pumpkin soon. So Any final thoughts before we wrap up for the night?
Not much.
No.
I think good luck to everybody with their own builds. Keep them coming. Subscribe.
Yeah, yeah. Subscribe because he wants to win a Futaba 8J.
No, we all want to win.
I'm to the nasty point of getting all the wires tucked in friendly.
Oh, okay.
That is
See,
nice.
You're making me jealous now, Nick.
Yeah, Derek, you can't afford it though. You've got electronics to buy for something else.
Yeah, I've got electronics to buy for actually 2 models right now.
Hey, look at that fancy Zeal hat. Rock on, dude.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed I don't have a Zeal hat, and I'm even showing off Zeal blades on all my pictures. I need to get them to send me a hat.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. I'm gonna work on that.
Somebody posted earlier that they ordered blades and got them in 3 days from Vietnam.
Wow.
So
I got mine in 5.
pretty good.
That's awesome.
Impressive considering I waited, I think, 13 days for the motor to come from Hong Kong. They're definitely got the shipments kind of slow over there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap this up, and I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks. I guess I don't know. I'll leave it up to you if we go off schedule and just keep it every 2 weeks from here, or if we should try and get caught back up and like do a hangout, next week, or I don't even know if I'm available next week. But anyway, hit me up on Facebook or Google Plus or whatever, and let me know if you have a preference one way or the other. Otherwise, I'll probably plan on just doing 2 weeks from today, and that'll be the new schedule. But
Maybe think of a holiday hangout if you want to mix one up in between.
yeah, something.
Off and holiday build night.
That'd be fun.
Everybody building something.
Tweaking at least.
Yeah. More building and less talking.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun hangout.
All right, guys. Well, catch you on the next one. Thanks for hanging.
All right, bye, guys.
Take care.
Night night.